Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking today about a product that I received in my March BoxyCharm subscription, and that is this Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer. I'm going to talk a little bit, as I usually do, about the company, a little bit about the product, and then I'm going to do a wear test through the day. I have been using this for a few weeks to get an impression on it, so that this isn't a first impression, but I thought that it would be good for us to see together how it affects my makeup through the day using it on half of my face. So if you are interested in certain parts of this video but not others, I'm going to put timestamps down below in the description bar so you can skip ahead to any part that you want. And thank you so much for joining me for this today. Let's first talk about Smashbox as a company. I actually had not looked into them as a company before. As a personal opinion of them, I always found them to be sort of a classier brand. So let me get into that a little bit. They do everything in a way that is very professional. So there are some brands, and I'm thinking about like Tarte and Too Faced and those kinds of things, where they have, you know, little cutesy names of palettes, or they try to be sort of edgy and that kind of thing. You know, Benefit has the cute packaging, and sometimes other products that aren't even necessarily that cutesy go in that direction as well. But Smashbox always seems to be pretty steady about being professional in how they present their products, and I've always seen their products to be high quality. At least that's always been my impression of them. I don't have a huge number of Smashbox products. I have a little mini eyeshadow palette, and I know I have some other things as well that's escaping me right now. But they always just seem very steady in what they do, and as I said, very professional. So in looking into them as a company, I was actually surprised to hear about the background that they have. In looking at their website and their web presence and everything, they have it, you know, set up to a T. The professional image they project continues in everything they do. It's just a wonderful setup, gives you all kinds of information. And basically, I did not know that Smashbox is named after a photo studio called Smashbox that was started in LA in 1990. I also didn't know that Smashbox was the slang, I believe they said, for a certain kind of camera from the 1900s, and that's where the name originally came from. And then in 1996, they actually put together the Smashbox cosmetics line, or launched it. The idea being that they are doing all of these photo shoots in this amazing studio that they have, and then they're making their own makeup, and they kind of have an opportunity to use the makeup in their photo shoots, and it's this whole creative energy that they get there that is kind of different perhaps from other cosmetics lines, because they have models there, they're doing shoots, they're doing fashion, they're making makeup, they're thinking about what kinds of things they want. It is run by, am I going to forget his first name here? It's not Dave Davis, Factor. And he and his brother originally started the studio, although he seems to be the founder of the cosmetics line, and he is the son of Max Factor. So there is a sort of family lineage there. They highlight him and a woman whose first name is Lori, who's sort of their creative director, and they are sort of the ones that carry the brand forward on their names. It's very well presented. They talk about this being one of their first iconic products. Their primer is sort of what they are best known for, were best known for, and continue to be known for. Smashbox is higher priced products. They are at that Sephora sort of level of product pricing. Here in Canada, you can get it at Sephora, or you can get it at our Shoppers Drug Mart chain. In either of those locations, I think it costs a little bit less if you go to Sephora to buy it, and there's more of a selection there as well. To talk about this product specifically, I'm going to tell you a bit of the information that they give on the website. They again talk about it being the first product that they developed at their studios, and it was developed to make makeup last longer on site and when they were doing photo shoots. It is also smoothing and helps you apply your makeup to a smoother base. Basically, they say to take a dime-sized amount and spread it over your face with your fingertips. They also say you can use it in your hair to tame frizz. And in addition to this sort of silicone dimethicone that is in here for the smoothing. It also has blends of vitamin A and E, grapeseed extract, and green tea for your skin, and they say that it is lightweight, and it is also oil-free, it is also cruelty-free, and it is paraben-free, sodium lauryl sulfate-free, phthalate-free, oil-free, fragrance and talc-free. So if any of those products are hard on your skin or you react to them, it's not in here, and it's always nice to know when a product is cruelty-free as well. They actually have a whole line of different primers. This is sort of their iconic first one, but they have, you know, ones for radiance, ones for staying more matte. The one that I am super interested in trying is their new pore filling one. It looks kind of purple. I was in store a couple of weeks ago and took a little bit, I wasn't wearing makeup at the time, and spread it on one side of my face, and it was like my pores disappeared. It was freaky looking at myself because it was like pores like normal and then just gone. So I am super interested in trying that one. The one that we were provided in BoxyCharm is a travel size. It seems like most of their primers are available in travel size, and then some of them are also available in value size. So the regular size is 1 ounce, the travel size is 1/2 ounce, and the value size is 1.7 ounces. Now the interesting thing is, if you want to try these or just buy these, I would suggest buying the travel size, because the travel size always seems to be less than half the price for half the product than the full size. So for example, here in Canada, if you want to buy 1 ounce of this primer, it's going to be at Sephora $44. I believe the pore blurring one is $50 for 1 ounce. So $44 for 1 ounce, or if you buy this at Sephora, it is $20 for 1/2 ounce. So basically, you're saving money by buying the travel size. Buy 2 of the travel sizes for $40 and get the same amount of product as 1 full size at $44. Now it does seem like the value sized one is actually an even better deal, because I believe it is $57 for 1.7 ounces. But basically, if you want to try some of these primers or even just buy them, I would suggest buying the travel size and getting a better value. I think that's everything I have to say about the product itself, so let's get into testing this on my face. I'm going to zoom you in so you can watch the application of this, and I should mention that I have washed and moisturized my face and then let my moisturizer sit for 10 minutes now before putting on the primer. I like a chance for my skincare to sink in a little bit, to not mess with the next layer of my cosmetics. So it says in order to put this on, you put on a pea or dime size amount. Because I'm only going to be doing half my face, I'm going to use half of a pea size amount. So I'm going to be using about that much for half of my face. You can really feel the slip of this. It is such a dimethicone slippery primer. It just smooths everything out. And what I've liked doing with this, as I've been testing it over the last couple of weeks, is smoothing it on everywhere, not anywhere, and then going back with a tiny little bit more to spread on the area for me that is bad for pores. And in this case, I do a combination of sort of moving it around, but really pressing it in to get a pore filling action going. I'm going to zoom you in to get the blurry filter off of here so you can see this is the side without the primer. And this is the side with the primer. Not a huge difference in seeing the pores as compared to some like crazy pore filling primers. But now that I've put that on my face, I'm going to let this sit for a while. Usually what I do at this point is I will do my eye makeup while I wait to let my primer set a little bit. I looked, it doesn't specifically say in the directions of how to use this to let this sit, but I just feel like I want the primer to get a chance to kind of lock in a little bit so I don't move it around and take it off when I'm putting my foundation on. I will be back in a few minutes and we will do the foundation application on top of the half face of primer. I'm going to apply my foundation now. The foundation I'm going to use is sort of my tried and true foundation, the one that I use when I'm not sort of testing anything and I just want something that I know is good and works for me, and that's the L'Oreal True Match. I actually use 2 different shades. This is N2, so neutral 2. They have ones with cool undertones, warm undertones, and then neutral. I'm going to start with the application on the non-primer side of my face so that I don't transfer primer to the other side. I'll just get this foundation dotted on here and then go in with my blending sponge. This is a heavy application of foundation. I know I've put a lot on, but as I said, I want it to show a bit more what the primer is doing, and I will get to blending. And now onto the primer side. I know I'm looking pretty crazy pale right now. What I do find, and I'll zoom you in to take a look, although it's a very tiny difference, is I did find that the side of my face that had the primer, it just blended a lot faster and easier onto that side of my face than the side without. I do see a slight minimization in the pores on this side of my face. And overall, I just find that this side of my face looks a slightly more skin-like and luminous, whereas this side looks a little bit more like foundation sitting on top of the skin. So no primer side and the primer side. It's pretty hard to see on camera. I'm gonna go get the rest of my makeup on, and then I will be back for a brief check-in before I get on with my day. Back from putting on the rest of my makeup, I had a little bit of a blush catastrophe that I think I fixed up, that it led into kind of a pink look for today. I went in with my City Color matte blush, which I haven't used in a while, and I forgot how pigmented it is, so I kind of ended up with a big boom of pink right on my cheek, so I had to blend and blend and blend and powder over top. Anyway, I got it sorted out and ended up, yeah, doing a very pink thing today. It was interesting though, because putting on my makeup is when I really noticed the difference that the primer was making. This is why I like doing primer tests and things like that as a half face, because I've been using this over the last couple of weeks on and off, but I've usually been using it for my full face. So I don't notice the difference that it's making, because they are subtle differences until you really start comparing primer versus no primer. This side of my face, especially on my cheeks where I tend to have pores and texture, is so much smoother. Just now that I've put on the foundation and powder and everything, it looks flawless here. And on this side, you really do notice a lot more of the texture. And where I really noticed it was that putting on highlight, I tend to do a powder highlight. It's kind of the only kinds of highlights I have. I have a cream one, but it's a little bit harder to work with. So I tend to use powder. And on this side, I put it on, and I mean, I always have some texture and stuff on my face, and highlight does make it show up a little bit. So I put it on and I can see sort of the texture. I put the highlighter on this side of my face and it is smooth. And that is what the primer is doing. It is really smoothing everything on this side of my face in a way that is noticeable when I compare it to the side without. I'm gonna try to zoom in to see if I can show you, to see if you can pick up on camera the difference. Always too close. So this is the non-primer side. And the primer side. I hope it's picking up. I mean, it's never going to take away all of my texture. I do have quite a bit of like acne scarring, but it is just so much smoother in appearance than this side. Zoom the wrong way. So this is where I am now. It's just a little after 9 o'clock in the morning, but basically when I put the foundation on, it was 9 o'clock. I'm gonna get on with my day and do a couple check-ins, either every few hours or when I notice noticeable differences happening, and I will see you guys again soon. Hi guys, it is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I've had my makeup on for about 5 hours now, and everything is hanging in well. I do have to say I don't see a huge difference in how well my makeup is lasting between the unprimed side and the primed side. I mean, I do think that my blush is a little bit brighter on this side of my face, but I also used a little bit of a heavier hand on that side of my face. So I will say a little tiny bit more. I think the makeup is fading less on this side of my face where I had the primer, but it's not hugely noticeable at this point. I do notice that I'm getting some shine on my face overall, pretty much the same amount on both sides of my face, but this does not claim in any way to be a mattifying primer or anti-shine primer. So that can't really be held against it because it's not really something that it is saying it is trying to do. So that is my check-in right now, not seeing a huge difference. I do still think that when I initially put it on, everything looked smoother on this side. I was out in my car for a little bit, and you know how car mirrors like never lie about your makeup. It did look smoother on this side of my face as well. I'm not seeing that difference quite as much anymore, but what I will do is check in later, either when I start to see a noticeable difference or before I take my makeup off, probably in 3 hours or so. So I will see you guys again then. Hey guys, it is towards the end of the day. It's about 5 o'clock. So I've had this on for 8 hours now, and I do think that I know I have some thoughts about this. I have some thoughts from today, and I have some thoughts from testing this product over the last few weeks, and I will share those with you. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, again, I think this helped, the primer on this side of my face helped a little bit with keeping my makeup last longer, but I've been in front of the window with a mirror comparing really closely back and forth, and there's actually very little difference that I see on the side of my face that has the primer versus the side that doesn't. And I do find this in a lot of my primer tests, is that I don't see huge differences between the side of my face with the primer and without, at least for the ones that I've been testing lately. I think that this is a good primer for what it is. So here's my thought. For me, this primer is sort of one of the original primers. It helps prep your skin for your makeup going on, and where I think it really excels is providing a base for your makeup to go on really smoothly, very flawlessly. It's not a super pore filler, but it does fill your pores a little bit, and it really has that dimethicone feeling where everything smooths on very nicely. As I said, when I first put this on and put my makeup on and, you know, powdered and everything on top, this side of my face was like flawless looking. What I do find as I go through the day is I notice less and less of a difference between one side of my face versus the other. So I think this is a fine primer for what it does. I think that if I was thinking about when I would use this, I might use this when I had something that I was going to right after I put my makeup on. So it's not necessarily a primer I would reach for when I was going to work for the day, because, you know, it would look really good at the start of the day, but it doesn't really help with some of the things that I want to do, which is maybe a bit more oil control, maybe a bit more mattifying, but that's going to depend on your skin type. But it looks really flawless for the first, 2 to 3 hours of the day. So if I'm going to a party or an important meeting, I would use this primer because it really gives you that nice, smooth, flawless look. What I do think overall is that I would be more interested in trying some of Smashbox's other primers that are more specifically geared towards what you want to do. So that's kind of a general sentence. I think when this came out, primers weren't that big of a thing, and this is sort of a general primer. But now we have primers that are acne fighting, oil controlling, mattifying, luminizing, moisturizing, hydrating, pore filling. There are all these things that primers are specifically targeting to do, and I think I am more likely to go for one that targets my specific needs rather than a general primer. For me, pore filling, mattifying, and a bit of acne control is kind of what I look for. So my thought on this primer is that if you're going to be paying for a Smashbox primer, and I think this is a good primer, but I would be more likely to try one of the new ones that they have come out with, which is addressing specific issues. So I know this is kind of a middle of the road review. As I said, I think this is good if you have an event or something that you are going to in the first perhaps 3 hours of wear, because it leaves you looking flawless. I think it is a good product. I think though that you could use other products that more specifically target the issues that you are having. Overall though, I still have to say I love Smashbox products. There is something about them that really draws me in. So I look forward to trying more products from Smashbox. I'm curious if you received this in your BoxyCharm box, or just if you've used this before, what your impressions are on this. Is this anybody's, like holy grail primer? Are there other Smashbox primers that you absolutely love, or just other primers in general? Basically, I love having conversations with you guys in the comments, so leave me a comment. I respond to every comment that I get. If you like this review, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed but would like to do so, please do so. If you're watching this when it is first released, I am so close to 250 subscribers, which is crazy and awesome, and you guys are just the best. As I said, I love the conversations that I get to have with you guys. I love getting to know you guys better, and I really love filming and reviewing products and editing these videos. So it's fun. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.